we turn now to a fine soldier under the ranks of the Imperium, fathered by order and mothered by the law of the God Emperor, Dagon Embyron Hellion the 18th, the All-Father of the current reign of the Hellion Imperium. Currently, you are on an imperialist ship, flying out of the stars to a new destination that has not yet been revealed. The ship itself is massive, housing most, if not all, members of one of the 7 tenets of the Empire. The Order of the Nail, a group of Hellion knights that enact law where none resides, or to places where law could be considered close to barbarism. The ship itself bears a symbol on the outside to where all can see it in plain view, thick nails or spears in a spherical formation creating a pointy depiction of a sunburst. You, as of right now, stand before a mass of fellow Imperials, gathered for a brief notion, anticipating their next orders. As you are up for final initiation into the Order, an elf approaches to the stand, skin a dark gray with silvering short hair, formal dark and black purple robes, with beside the symbol of the Order on his shoulder, the symbol of a spider. As he approaches to give a speech, "Yes, a fine soldier indeed. Powerful ally too, and someone who has never strayed from laying down order where it was required. They always told us to keep our heads down, follow orders, listen, and bring the will of the Emperor to those who have not yet heard it. Do that and you'll reach enlightenment. Well, I say you've done just that. The law has been in your hands since the day we met, and now we enact the official ceremony in welcoming you. Brother, we head to Romia. Therein lies a planet of complete piracy, a planet of outlaws and vigilantes. No moral code, and thus no way of reaching true enlightenment under the God Emperor's watchful eyes. For here, under temporary command, we will bring order and enact our code. Savagery must be quelled in the land, home, and mind. We are the Order of the Nail. Both the Emperor and Empress will see the law fulfilled. Glory be to them both. You are all dismissed. You have 6 hours till we make contact. Prepare for our arrival." You stand for a few seconds in silent acclamation as you hear a wave of cheers coming from the hangar before you. Before a wave of unfamiliarity takes over you, a rush of power, adrenaline flows through and into your being. You feel as if you could take on every single Imperial here. That feeling fades. As you turn to walk with the drow, who was just at the podium, you see several figures with black hoods over their heads, each being held down by more Imperials, guns at the ready pointed to their backs and their head. The figures are obscured details, but yet you know them somehow. One amongst them stands out above the rest as your vision of him clears, kneeling down, 2 hands on his head and the other 2 bound in manacles. Before you see more detail, your gaze is drawn away by the drow, as he holds on to you and escorts you out of a large hangar. The speech had just taken place before. "Listen, before we reach our destination, and before you can become an actual knight, we must see to your devotion. The right of domina, one-on-one combat, and a new code just came from Absalom. Good luck, not that you'll probably need it, but we will begin at once. Head to the pit. See you on the other side, brother." He turns and gives a salute, and walks down another hallway. As you were walking, you had arrived at your destination to your knowledge. The pit was just down the corridor, which was waiting for your arrival. That and a few officers were currently about in the stands as you approached the center of the arena. The arena was a circular dome covered in metal with runes attached to each support beam. Directly across from you, outside this cage, there were a couple of lab coats pressing in some amount of data to a console and quickly speaking to one another before turning to you. "We are ready for the initiation, and everything is set to bring forth the new code. Are you ready, brother? Let us bring in the media." As one of the lab coats starts pressing and processing keys upon his console, the cage closes behind you, and in the center of the stage, the floor opens up to reveal a containment canister with a biohazard symbol on it, and an identifying code written on the side, but you can't make out what it says. Once the container is fully inside the arena, it splits open, revealing some sort of grayish goop that slops across the floor. The runes light up to a bright red color, and fire roars from the center of the goop. A claw pierces out from the liquid, and another one shortly follows, pulling itself out of the ground of the pit. This creature comes into view. A devil lined with black armor, standing well above you, pulls himself out from the pits of hell and is ready to fight you to the death for initiation. So I need you to roll me initiative.
I think we should just talk this out.
Mr. Deggers.
The perfect time for diplomacy.
16.
16. Okay, that beats his 11. So you get to go first.
Well, it's too late to talk this.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the type to talk in the
That's
first
just-
place either.
Rude. Guess I pull my longsword out and go to stab.
Yeah.
Thousands of years in the future, and I still have a longsword.
Still have a longsword. Order of the Nail is very old-fashioned.
Perfected weaponry.
Right. 15 to hit.
15 does not.
I miss.
You miss. You can make it a second attack, though, if you would
Oh,
like.
good.
It's just you don't add anything to it.
13.
13 does not hit. As you rush up to this knight dressed in blackened veil, steam emanating from the surface of his armor as a red glow fades from him, he goes to make 2 attacks with its greatsword at you. The first one is a 10 versus your KAC.
Nay.
And the second one's a nat 1, so no.
Perfect. Falls over, stabs self. I win.
You both lock blades as he tries to take a swipe at you. You kind of dodge the first one, and as he brings it around for the second attack, you lock with him and slap it to the side as it caves into the ground and kind of burns and singes into the bottom of this steel floor. It is your turn.
So we have a 4 and a 20.
20 hits. 4 does not.
Well, why?
4 hits his pinky.
Yeah. If he had a pinky.
If he had one. He's got 3 fingers.
Yeah. 3 with that.
3. 3 points of damage.
His ribcage explodes.
Yeah. You imagine? Just deal out awesome amount of damage. Got 1 point.
1 point.
Overkilled it.
After slapping his blade off to the side, you scorch up towards the front of his chest as it kind of grazes off of his metal plate armor. You kind of just catch into one of his chains and try and push your blade through, but chainmail underneath kind of sticks and makes it so your blade doesn't pierce as well as it should. For 3 damage. He begins his turn as he takes his sword into one hand. He uses his other hand, and you see the heat from his hand fade into a frosty, bluish glow as it cracks with ice. He goes to touch you with a chill touch. EAC, that is 9.
No.
You pull your blade back out and kind of push his hand off the side as the spell kind of fades and bounces. Takes his greatsword back into both of his hands and makes a second attack next to you. With a 21 to hit versus your case.
I guess so.
You take
There's no combat difference.
take 5 points of slashing damage
Okay.
and 4 points of fire.
Okay.
And that ends his turn. So your stamina goes first. So stamina's like temporary, I think. 5 and 4.
9.
Okay, thank you.
9 points altogether. That ends his turn.
Do that.
Dave.
One of the officers yells from atop the cage, "Kill that!"
Distracted me.
Send him back to hell.
13 and a 2.
13 and 2. Both miss.
Excellent.
As you try and swing towards his body, his armor almost fades into the ethereal as your blade just kind of right through his form almost.
Maybe you should see if Zozumo's available to help.
You're right. What was I thinking?
As he begins his turn again, he makes 2 attacks. Both miss as well.
Gripping
Live to
fight
fight
for
another
the
day.
ages.
It's back and forth, neck and neck. And as he goes and tries to cut you, even more so than you did him, the fight continues on for well into about 20 minutes of a sheer one-on-one battle.
Each of us missing.
A perfect equal.
A crowd gathers to watch.
Basically, as you are fighting against this Chaos Knight from the pits of hell, it brings forth many of Imperials that are within this ship to watch this battle as it goes on for what feels like eternity, as you just continue to just wail against one another to try and bring each other down to their knees. Eventually, you come out on top.
Excellent. Wouldn't have it any other way.
And as the fiend falls, a searing, burning pain shoots to the palm of your hand.
Perfect.
You look to it and hold it in response as to whatever vision you were having fades. Your memory returns. You live on Ramia, a simple life of a maglev pilot, a frictionless train, traveling from one town to the next across the planet with nothing in tow but passengers and their carry-ons, save for a few times you've taken new construction materials, water, and food. There was a couple of times where you did get hijacked by some rowdy gang members, but you stayed alive and kept your job. Insurance paid for most of it. Yes,
Thank
sir, the
God.
simple life it was. But something extraordinary happened. One night you were out gathering up supplies for your next run to yet another town, when a piece of the sky broke off and crashed into the outskirts of August, the name of the town that you were currently in. You saw the fragment crash down and land in a nearby tree line. You looked around, but it was as if nobody saw. You made your way to the crater, and inside lay a capsule. With no way to see inside, you leaped down. Yeah.
You could also listen to it.
I could, but I'll forget.
You made your way to the crater, and inside lay a capsule with no way to see inside. You leapt down into the crater to get a better look. There was a door on the capsule, and the metal looked like it had already cooled by the time you got there. You attempted to reach out for the handle, and as you grasped it, flames wreathed your hand and burned the flesh as if it had just landed from the sky. This capsule started to glow red to white hot as this vision that you had in this Imperial vessel clasped at your mind. Confusion hit you all at once. The vision felt so real. The power that had surged felt so familiar, yet here you are out in the middle of nowhere. You start to hear shouting in the distance, comm units chattering back and forth, and the familiar barking of orders, either local law enforcement or worse, Imperials themselves. You start to sweat, and then you hear a metallic scraping as the capsule door opens. Dark still inside, but the door is easy enough to enter. Do you head inside?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Got nothing else better to do.
Yeah.
Might as well. Heading inside, the capsule is much larger than you had initially thought. Eloquent in design, the interior is quite a fashion statement. Candles are lit within the hallway of the capsule, red carpet adorns the floor, and as you walk inside, you come to a larger room with a burning hearth on the other side. The smell of fresh baked goods, meats, and other delicious fragrances fill your nose and make your mouth water. This place, albeit strange, feels all too familiar as well. In the center of the room, there's a large circular table with different foods and drinks, as if a feast is being served to many guests. Some pieces have already been bitten off and other plates have been served, but there's no one else here besides you. The air is warm from the hearth, and light, joyful, orchestral music plays in the background. Make a perception check.
Remember when your whole civilization blew up? And
No, when
you,
did that
you
happen?
watched your friend die before you?
I can't
He's
recall.
got cookies and milk.
Santa's coming!
Hey, but I have an amulet.
24.
So.
That's true.
24. Alright. On the table itself, there's a piece of parchment with a pen lying next to it, ready for someone to sign. Your name, Degris, is printed on as well, as if waiting for your specific signature. Over by the hearth, there's a large ornate mirror, tall and wide enough for almost anyone. Curious yourself, you look towards what this piece of parchment is and look towards the mirror. And walking towards the mirror, you see your reflection, but not much else.
The Phantom of the Opera is behind that mirror.
You turn away from the mirror and look towards this piece of parchment on the table, but a voice chimes in behind you. It's your voice. And as you look back towards the mirror, you see yourself reflected inside. But the reflection does not follow your movement. Degris, we have gone over this many times now. We can't change anything until you sign your part of the contract.
What's the contract for again?
Oh, Degris, this again. You can't keep giving the same, but I've forgotten or I don't know what you're talking about speech. I've explained this to you multiple times, and I'll do it again until you get it through your thick skull. We are in trouble, and in order to get out of said trouble, we came here seeking help. And yes, I am you if you're thinking that. You've been here before, multiple times. As you look across the feast on this table, you take on multiple bites and multiple plates, and we've gone over this I have no idea how many times now. You keep coming back because nothing changes with us. You keep writing me off, trying to leave, and then just end up right back where we began, except you've no memory of what just happened seconds ago. So please help us both out and sign the contract on the table, then we can go about the rest of your life. Please.
What a nag.
You sign the contract. Your reflection goes to sit down and becomes silent, leaving it to be just you in the decadent dining room. And as you finish signing the contract itself, the glass shatters, revealing a room behind the mirror.
I'm sorry, this is literally the Phantom of the Opera, so.
Behind the mirror itself lies a pedestal that burns with a bright, deep orange color. And in the middle of the fire is a swirling sphere of the same color energy. You go into the room.
We're already this far, so might as well.
Take a couple more bites.
Yeah, you stick like a half a chicken onto a plate. Bring it in
More.
there.
It's like one of those hefty plates that's like bending under the weight.
They could afford all this entire feast, but they couldn't afford nice china.
Right.
So it's just paper plates.
Yes, what is it?
And the gravy's like soaking into
Yeah.
it, causing it to laugh.
Changing hand.
Yeah.
Delicious.
There's no pot holders or anything. But you head up to the pedestal and reach out to your hand. This orange ball of power siphons into your body, and you feel this revelation of adrenaline and the same power that you kind of felt earlier before. As you hold your hand as it burns with a searing pain again as well, you close your eyes, and as you open it back up, you're standing back outside this capsule, feeling that yourself have been changed somehow, still very confused as to what's all happening and why it's happening. Either way, your hand burns once again, but it's not as bad. You can feel the power from it that you did from before, and it may be useful. However, as you look around to your surroundings, you still hear the sound of some sort of enforcement coming to your location. You turn to see this capsule to see where it was before, but there is no capsule. Instead, you line a crater over top of some sort of cadaver. His head is missing entirely, and his blood is draining the soil beneath you. What do you do?
Just a cadaver.
Some body. Some
Don't
lifeless
recognize
body.
it.
Make an investigation.
You look at your hefty plate. There's a head instead of a chicken.
16, okay.
Oh, sense motive? No, that's wisdom.
No, that's insight.
Jesus.
Sense
I
motive is
thought.
insight.
Yeah, that was right there.
16. You look down at the body, and it's wearing familiar clothes. It's the same clothes as yours.
That looks like my hair too.
Could be.
So,
But there's no head.
There's other ways to tell.
He was talking about the leg hair.
Like to just like try to get the hell out of here.
You climb up out of the ditch that you find yourself in, and making your way out of this hole. As you climb up and get out, you see this kind of line of law enforcement kind of at the ready where you are. And before you can even get out any words, you feel an electrical pulse within your body
Perfect.
as many a tasers just
I
fire.
power through.
And you feel yourself pass out unconscious. However, as before you fade away, you look to your hands as you see a burning fire lit within each of your hands as you pass out. But that ends the pathway of the falling star.
I love it. Thank you, Dave.
you did. Or you did.
Prison.
Oh, jeez.